Hello and welcome to my review of the Ancient in Terminator Armour for Space Marines for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. Now, presently in November, the only way to pick up this mini is via the Crux Terminates Space Marines Battle Force, which will cost you £155. I'll say right now, no unit or no model will ever be worth a paywall of especially £155, pretty much 160, which is more than a new edition box set, especially as all of these minis in this set will be released in 2 or 3 weeks. I predict that this mini will cost about £28 when it's released separately. The format of this review is as normal. I'll have a look at the Ancient in Terminator Armour. I'll look at the spare parts. We'll go through some size comparisons with Terminators from this box. And then at the end, I'll go through all of its rules. Now, I think this is the first time we've had an Ancient in Terminator Armour mini. And, you know, this unit has been around for at least 3 editions, 3 books, but we've never really had a mini. Finally, we get a mini, and it is a good mini. You could say it's a bit meh, but it's decent. It does the job. He does have options. I would have preferred way more weapon options, considering his other hand is holding the banner, and he's supposed to have a power fist, chain fist, close combat weapon, power weapon, thunder hammer, lightning claws, thunder hammer, and Terminator storm shield. You don't get any of those options, and it really does bother me nowadays when these minis are so much money. All those are paywall, and they just don't give you the options that are in the. So by all means, my best advice for this model, unless you really like the look of it, is just kit bash your own. Find a banner from somewhere. Any banner will do, and kit bash a standard Terminator so that it is holding a banner, and then that way you can equip it with any kind of melee weapon that you wish that's actually in the rules. So let's have a look at the Ancient. I did build him in the live stream. I'm recording this video, as you're probably watching this on the Friday, I'm recording this video Thursday evening, hence why I'm not doing a live stream. Anyway, let's have a look at this mini. As I say, it's a pretty decent mini. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. I like the pose, although, again, like the Terminator Captain, or Terminators in general, unfortunately, these Terminator models, they don't lend themselves to some of the poses that Games Workshop sculpt them in when they're wearing their Terminator helmet. This one kind of works. His head is kind of in that direction, but because he's wearing that helmet, you don't get much freedom of movement there. So you're limited with just that angle of where the head is, which kind of sucks because they want you to use one of the other 3 helmetless heads to get the kind of best pose, best angle with him. I mean, of course you do get a different right arm, so you could have the Stormbolter sort of almost resting by his side and have his head like looking straight at you, but I've gone for the aiming the Stormbolter, which I think is fine, and from a distance sort of works. The banner itself is decent, and you do get a different banner top. You get this winged skull, or you get a kind of skull with a halo around it. Well, I like the power sword that it's equipped with. I guess you could kind of say that this one has the close combat weapon, the power sword instead of a power fist, which sort of works. There's some nice detail around. There's some rivets and things. The banner, is sculpted, so you don't have to like paint a lot of it, which is fine. Not much detail going on the back. You've got the Crux Terminates on the shoulder pauldron. You've got this name scroll, and he is on this bit of a tactical rock. The Stormbolter has the winged skull, and nothing really special about that. You've got a purity seal there. The tasset, tassets are very basic standard tassets. So yeah, that's the Ancient in Terminator Armour. Let's have a look at the spare parts. So here are the spare parts. You've got the other arm that I alluded to, so you can have the Stormbolter sort of almost resting by his side. You've got the 3 different heads, and I'll zoom in for these. So you've got this one, sort of has half the Terminator helmet and a bald head. You've got this one, which has a bit of a Mohican and some bionics. And then you've got this one, which is what they use on the box, standard sort of Space Marine. I'm not a massive fan of the half helmeted Space Marines. I'd rather have, you know, either fully helmet off or, you know, helmet on. And then this is the alternate banner topper, this skull that's got a halo around it. So you can go for that if you wish. So a few spare parts, but nothing to write home about, and I would have liked if they'd included more close combat weapons for this Ancient. Let's have a look at some size comparisons. So first and foremost, just comparisons with miniatures in the set. So I have built the Captain in Terminator Armour, very sort of odd pose, but the Captain is slightly taller because he's on 2 tactical rocks. I've got the Chaplain in Terminator Armour. Maybe I'm thinking I should have put the Stormbolter on this Captain, and then I could have had all 3 with Stormbolters for some reason. But the Chaplain, a bit different because I've used the different Crozius. I've used the same helmet as I had for the one with the shield, and then I've used the Stormbolter instead of the shield, of course. Yeah, I think the Captain is the odd one out. I might change the combi weapon. I might put the Stormbolter on, and then at least they've all got the same weapon. But that's where they stand up. The Captain's a bit taller. Chaplain is similar height, but he's probably a little bit bigger, the bearer. I do have one of the Assault Terminators. I've completed them, and this is where he measures up next to those. He's going to work very, very well. He's a little bit taller than a normal Assault Marine, than the normal Assault Terminators. And then the Big Daddy Terminator himself, Lysander, is bigger, you know, other than his banner. The typical 40k miniatures I like to compare to is standard Space Marine. I've got a Primaris and then Sly Marbo. So yeah, he's going to be taller and wider and stuff and bigger than your standard Primaris, as are all of the newer Terminators. While I'm on this subject, it was requested by long-term subscriber and member of the channel. It was requested that I make reviews of the Captain and the Chaplain and the standard Terminators in this set. I'll be making a review of the Terminators from Leviathan because I've got plans for the 3rd Terminator unit in this set, but rest assured I will be reviewing all of these units in this set separately, so I want to uphold that request. And then there'll be a review of the whole box set at the end of these series of Terminator reviews. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Ancient in Terminator Armour, and he does actually get his own separate rules in the 10th edition Space Marine Codex. I'm pleased to tell you I can give you the points for him as well. He will cost you 85 points. Compared to the Captain in Terminator Armour, that will cost you 95 points. So he's 10 points cheaper than the Captain in Terminator Armour. His stat line reads, he's a movement of 5 inches, toughness 5, save of 2+, with an invulnerable 4+, 5 wounds, leadership 6+, and objective control 1. Compared to the Captain in Terminator Armour, he's got the same stat line, but he just has 5 wounds instead of the Captain's 6, so he's losing out on a wound. The model is equipped with a Stormbolter and Power Fist. I'll go through his weapons. So the Stormbolter is, works as normal. It's a rapid fire 2, range of 24 inches, 2 shots, ballistic skill 3+, strength of 4, AP 0, damage 1. A little bit different than the Captain, that of course has ballistic skill 2+. Melee weapons, of course, they say he's armed with a Power Fist, which has 4 attacks, weapon skill 2+ though, strength 8, AP -2, damage 2. The Power Fist can be replaced with one of the following: 1 Chain Fist, 1 Close Combat Weapon, 1 Power Weapon, 1 Thunder Hammer, and the Stormbolter and Power Fist can be replaced with one of the following: twin lightning claws, or one thunder hammer and one Terminator storm shield. If he's got the storm shield, then he has a wounds characteristic of 6. His melee weapons, so the chain fist is anti-vehicle 3+, 4 attacks, weapon skill 3+ though, strength 8, AP -2, damage 2. Close combat weapon has 5 attacks, weapon skill 2+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Power weapon has 5 attacks, weapon skill 2+, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. The thunder hammer has devastating wounds and it's 4 attacks. It's 3+ to hit, strength is 8, AP -2, damage 2. And then twin lightning claws, which are twin linked, have 6 attacks, weapon skill 2+, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. So in terms of this particular model, you could say he's got a close combat weapon, or he's got a power weapon in terms of what's represented on the model. I don't think you could get away with saying that he's got a thunder hammer and a storm shield tucked away somewhere. I don't know even how that would work. Maybe he'd have to holster the thunder hammer and hold the shield and the banner at the same time. Who knows how that works? He needs a third arm though, doesn't he, to operate that. One thing I will say though is obviously his weapon skill is pretty good. I mean, he's hitting on 2+ on all of his power weapons except for the thunder hammer and the chain fist, which is the same weapon skill as the Captain in Terminator Armour, but the Captain in Terminator Armour for some reason has weapon skill 2+ on the power fist. It seems odd that his ballistic skill is only 3+ with the Storm Bolter, but his weapon skill is the same as the Captain, whereas the Captain has that better ballistic skill with the Storm Bolter. It's a bit bizarre, and for a unit that has the same weapon skill as the Captain and is almost the same points, I would have also expected his ballistic skill to have been 2+ as well. He is a leader. The model can be attached to the following units: a Terminator Squad, Terminator Assault Squad. You can attach this model to one of the above units, even if one Captain or Chapter Master or Lieutenant model has already been attached to it. If you do, and that bodyguard is destroyed, the leader units attached to it become separate units with their original starting strengths. Abilities: Deep Strike Leader, and faction ability is Oath of Moment. He also has his own specific ability called Astartes Banner. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the objective control characteristic of models in that unit, and another ability called Keep the Banner High. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if that unit is below its starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll as well if that unit is below half strength. So it's quite specific that you have to almost like get into the action and get a load of casualties for the banner to take effect. So if you don't want the unit that he's with to add 1 to hit rolls or add 1 to wound rolls, just don't kill a lot of them, basically. I mean, you only need to kill 1 and then they all improve their hit rolls, which is pretty nice. So quite specific ability there to keep the banner high, but at least Astartes Banner, you're adding 1 to the objective control, which could be quite beneficial. Keywords: Infantry, Character, Imperium, Terminator, Ancient, Adeptus Astartes. So there you go. That's the Ancient in Terminator Armour. There are a couple of other Ancients in the Army book. There's your standard Ancient, which has a slightly different banner ability called Unbreakable Duty, where all that happens is the model gets Feel No Pain 4+. It would have been nice if like all of the models, within 6 inches got that, but they don't. And then you get a Blade Guard Ancient, which has the Deeds of Heroism, where once per battle, that unit can use the ability and you add 1 to the attacks characteristic of all melee weapons in the model's unit, which is pretty nice. Although that Blade Guard Ancient is losing out on toughness, on standard save, and on wounds. And also he only has a close combat weapon. He doesn't actually have like a power sword. So he's severely lacking. This Ancient is the best equipped one. All that the standard Ancient can have is a power weapon, whereas this one can have a power fist, thunder hammer, all those things. But unfortunately they're just not represented with this sculpt. As he's a leader model and he's quite important, I would have preferred a much more fleshed out. Instead of having 4 different heads, maybe, just maybe, we could have had 4 different like melee weapons. Keep the Storm Bolter as it is, but just have, fleshed out the number of melee weapons he could we could equip him with. In summary, he's an alright model, nothing to write home about. The real stars of the show are the Assault Terminators. It's not worth picking this set up if you're just interested in him. Even after saying that, he might be worth picking up separately, just if you don't fancy kit bashing your own Ancient in Terminator Armour. But what do you guys think? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.